When it comes to love, most people chase emotions. They want to feel wanted, desired, needed. They measure love by how often someone calls, how quickly they text back, or how much attention they give. We confuse constant reassurance with connection. We think being thought of all the time means being loved. But in truth, what most people call love is often just emotional dependency dressed as affection. We crave love not because we understand it, but because we fear being without it. And that fear leads us to hold tighter, to demand more, to lose ourselves piece by piece, all in the name of being loved. But the Stoics taught something radically different. They believed that love, like life itself, should be guided by reason and virtue, not by emotion alone. Because emotions rise and fall. They're unpredictable. They change with mood, with time, with distance. But virtue, calmness, integrity, patience, those are steady. They don't fade when things get difficult. They don't abandon you when your heart breaks. Stoic love isn't built on constant excitement. It's built on quiet strength. It's not about fireworks, it's about endurance. A Stoic doesn't say, "I can't live without you." A Stoic says, "I choose to live with you, freely, fully, but never fearfully." Because love that's based on fear isn't love. It's control. And control always destroys what it tries to hold. The Stoics knew that true love isn't about possession. It's about peace. It's about two people standing side by side. Not clinging, not chasing, but walking together with mutual respect and understanding. That kind of love doesn't happen by accident. It's something you build through character and discipline. It's not found in chaos, it's found in calm. In our modern world, we've forgotten that. We chase temporary highs, instant validation, and emotional comfort. We mistake attention for affection, and control for care. But love rooted in emotion alone will always rise and fall. Because emotions are waves. Virtue is the shore. To love like a Stoic means to build your heart on something that can't be taken away. Your peace, your discipline, your understanding that love is not ownership, it's offering. So if you want to love without losing yourself, if you want a connection that lasts beyond words, beyond moods, beyond the constant need to prove and perform, then you must learn to love like a Stoic. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Join a community that values strength, peace, and purpose in love. Because here we don't just talk about feelings, we master the mindset behind them. Take a deep breath. Let's begin. Rule 1. Never depend on someone for your peace. The Stoic knows, your mind is your kingdom. No one, not your lover, not your family, not your past, can take your peace unless you hand it to them. In love, that means one thing. Your happiness is your responsibility. Most people don't realize how much power they give away in relationships. They say things like, "I can't be happy without them. They complete me. They're my everything." And at first, that sounds romantic. It sounds beautiful. But if you look deeper, it's not love. It's surrender. Because the moment you say someone else completes you, you admit that without them you are incomplete. You've placed your peace in someone else's hands. And that's not love. That's emotional dependency. When they're kind, you're happy. When they're distant, you fall apart. When they text, you smile. When they don't, you spiral. That isn't connection. That's control, but you're the one being controlled. The Stoics taught that real love begins when you stop making others responsible for your inner state. Because if your peace depends on someone else's behavior, you'll live your life on edge, constantly waiting for validation, reassurance, attention, and calling that love. A Stoic doesn't need someone to complete them. They share their completeness. Their peace doesn't disappear when someone walks away, because it was never borrowed in the first place. So when your partner becomes distant, you don't panic, you reflect. You don't chase, you breathe. You don't break, you understand. You remind yourself, my peace isn't negotiable. Even in the best relationships, there will be distance, silence, and conflict. You can't control that. You can't control the weather of another person's heart, but you can control how you respond. You can choose not to let their storm drown your calm. If your peace depends on constant reassurance, you'll spend your life begging for it. And even if they give it to you, it will never be enough. Because peace that comes from others is always temporary. But when your peace comes from within, you love with freedom. You no longer need to ask, do they still want me? You start asking, am I still living with virtue? Because virtue, not attention, is what makes love strong. Love built on peace is steady. It doesn't beg, it doesn't fear, it doesn't cling. It gives without losing itself. That's the difference between attachment and affection. Attachment says, "Don't leave me." Affection says, "I wish you well even if you go." That's Stoic love. A love that doesn't fade when silence comes, that doesn't break when tested. Next time you feel anxious in love, repeat this quietly to yourself. I can care without clinging. I can love without losing myself. I can stay calm even when things are uncertain. Say it again. Because the repetition reminds your mind who's in charge. And it's not your emotions. Your peace is your power. Your calm is your control. And your discipline, that's your freedom. If this message resonates with you, take a second to hit like, and type in the comments, "My peace is my power." And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel, because we're just getting started. In the next rule, we'll explore how to love through action, not attachment, and why true love is shown, not chased. Rule 2. Love through action, not attachment. Love, to most people, is about possession. We hold tight. We cling. We tell ourselves, "If I love you, you're mine." But that isn't love, that's attachment. Attachment is fear dressed up as affection. It says, "I love you because you make me feel safe." But the moment that safety disappears, so does the love. The Stoics saw love differently. They believed that love isn't something you cling to, it's something you practice. Because real love isn't about owning someone. It's about giving without needing to receive. It's about showing care through action, not through control. A Stoic doesn't ask, "Do you love me?" They ask, "Am I acting with love?" Because in the end, the only part of love you truly control is how you show it. You can't control if someone stays. You can't control how deeply they feel. You can't even control if they understand your heart. But you can control how you show up. You can choose patience instead of panic, understanding instead of argument, presence instead of pressure. That's the power of Stoic love. It turns emotion into intention. Attachment says, "I need you to act a certain way so I can feel okay." But love says, "I'll act with kindness and peace no matter what you choose." Think about that. If you only love when they love you back, that's not love, that's a transaction. But if you love through action, you become free. You give because it's who you are, not because of what you get. Imagine two people in a relationship. One says, "I love you, but you must make me happy." The other says, "I love you, so I'll do my best to bring peace to your world." Which one sounds stronger? Which one sounds freer? Attachment wants to possess. Love wants to express. When you act with love, when you speak gently, listen deeply, and stay true to your values, you create a peace that doesn't depend on the other person's reaction. The Stoics believed that love is a virtue, not an emotion. It's something you live out every day. It's patience when you want to argue. It's forgiveness when you want revenge. It's silence when speaking would only wound. Love through action means this. You don't have to say, "I love you," 1,000 times. You show it through consistency, through calmness, through the strength to stay kind even when you're hurt. When you detach from outcomes, your love becomes cleaner. You don't need to manipulate. You don't need to chase. You simply do your part and let go of what's beyond your control. That's the Stoic way. It doesn't mean you feel less. It means you love with clarity. It means your emotions no longer run your life. So ask yourself, am I loving to give or loving to get? Do I express love because it's natural, or because I want something in return? True strength is when you choose love, even when you're misunderstood. When you choose patience, even when you're hurt. When you choose grace, even when you could choose pride. That's how you transform love into peace. Next time you feel tempted to prove your love, to chase attention, to demand answers, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, am I acting out of love or out of attachment? Because love built on action is calm. Love built on attachment is chaos. And peace will always recognize the difference. If this message spoke to you, take a second to hit the like button. And let me know in the comments. I choose love through action. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we explore the Stoic path to strength, peace, and lasting connection. Next, we'll move into the most powerful rule of all. Rule 3, accept that love can end, and love anyway. Because only when you face impermanence can you truly understand what eternal love feels like. Rule 3, accept that love can end, and love anyway. Every love story has two beginnings: the moment you meet, and the moment you realize you could lose each other. Most people love only the first part, the warmth, the passion, the security. But the Stoics remind us that to love deeply, you must also learn to love with awareness. The awareness that everything in life is temporary. That's not meant to make you afraid. It's meant to make you free. Love is fragile. Not because it's weak, but because everything that's alive changes. People grow. Seasons shift. What once felt certain can fade. The Stoic doesn't deny that truth. They embrace it. Because when you accept that love can end, you stop holding it so tightly that you suffocate it. You begin to love more purely, without control, without demand. You stop saying, "You can't leave me," and instead you start saying, "I'm grateful you're here." That's freedom. That's real love. When you understand impermanence, you begin to see love not as a possession, but as a moment of shared existence. A crossing of two souls on the same path, even if just for a while. The Stoics taught that loss is not a punishment, it's a natural law. What is born will pass. What begins will end. What you hold will one day slip away. And yet, knowing that, they still chose to love. Fully. Bravely. Without fear. So how do you love with the awareness that it could end? You love with gratitude, not greed. You appreciate instead of possess. You say, "Thank you" more often than "Don't leave me." You become fully present in each moment, because you understand each one might not come again. When you see love this way, every touch becomes sacred. Every silence becomes meaningful. Every goodbye becomes a lesson, not a tragedy. Imagine someone who once hurt you. At first, the pain feels unbearable. You ask, "Why me? Why now? What did I do wrong?" But when you think like a Stoic, you start to ask different questions. What can this teach me? How can I love better next time? What part of me needs to grow? Because love ending isn't failure, it's transformation. It's life showing you where you still depend, where you still attach, and where you still need to strengthen your inner peace. The Stoic doesn't resist change, they grow through it. They understand that even the end of love is part of love's purpose. Love will break you open, not to destroy you, but to reveal more of you. When you lose someone, you don't lose love itself. You lose one expression of it, but the source, your ability to love, that remains within you forever. That's what the Stoics knew. That's what makes love eternal. So when love ends, don't close your heart, refine it. Don't say, "I'll never love again." Say, "Next time I'll love more wisely," because the one who accepts loss has already won. They've discovered the only kind of love that cannot be taken away, the love that comes from within. Love like a Stoic. Don't fear the end. Appreciate the now. Be grateful for the lesson. And when it's time to let go with grace. Because every ending is just another form of beginning. And every love, even the ones that don't last, shapes the strength of your soul. If this message reached you today, take a deep breath. And remember, you don't need to control love. You just need to live it well. If this video helped you see love differently, tap the like button. It really helps this message reach others. Type in the comments, "I choose gratitude over fear." And if you haven't already, subscribe to Stoic Love 101. Here we don't just talk about love. We explore the strength, wisdom, and inner calm that make love last. Because when you master your mind, you master your heart. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded, stay peaceful, and as always, be silent, be powerful, be valued.